Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the What If. Chapter 25. Anarchy and Theft. Megakure, the Diva Path, the most prized of all the 6 paths of pain used by Nagato, his representative to Akatsuki meetings as the alias Pain, appeared to be brooding into the torrent of the outside rain into the industrial hidden village. He felt another of the paths approach him, sharing their eyes, hair, wardrobe and love of body piercings, but with longer hair done in a ponytail. The animal path. I need you to summon forth Konan. I need her counsel. The path nodded, doing the hand seals required. Summoning jutsu. Rising from the smoke resulting was the sole female of Akatsuki, a blue-haired beauty with a cold face. Paper flowers adorned her hair as decorations. This was the paper angel of God, the S-class Kunoichi Konan. She nodded, as if being suddenly summoned wasn't a big surprise. Yes, Nagato-sama, he motioned for the animal path to leave. Once they were alone, she dropped her facade, and some concern entered her face. It happened again. Yes, it happened again. The Naraka path was hijacked the same as this one was with that invasion of Taki, and been hijacked in authorizing the disastrous missions to capture the Yonbi and Rokubi Jinchuriki. It's taken weeks to sort that out diplomatically, and we've had to put Madara, in that idiotic Toby posing onto Akatsuki proper until we can find a suitable replacement, and to add to the problem, it allowed the Nanabi Jinchuriki to end up in Konoha, with the Kyubi no less. Capturing them both from that village is going to be problematic. But, who could have the power to take control of your technique like that? The only ones who know of this jutsu besides ourselves are Zetsu and Madara, and they have no reason to run amok with your bodies. I think that's an easy question. Nagato, Kanan, students of Jiraiya, a voice said. Alarmed, the duo turned and found themselves gazing at Taesun. You, the path yelled in fury. Taesun smiled. So, it appears I'm making myself known. Well then, let's cut the whole enemy thing and the billion paper cut, path overload show, and get to why I am here, the fate of our clan, Nagato. I don't know how you got in here. Oh, I stuck a warp seal onto Yahiko's body. Konan and the path showed alarm as to how he knew whose body the path was, and I have information on your little path problem. Wait, are you? The path demanded. Taesun sighed. And I'd gain what, by messing with your bodies like that? Seeing as the Naraka is currently trying to destroy the last Uzumaki in Konoha, my plans to revive our clan are in risk of demise. However, I fear I know who's controlling them. Tell us, now, Konan demanded. Taesun gazed at them both. The Uchiha who killed my wife, slaughtered my village, and my former best friend. I thought he was dead, but it appears otherwise. Wait, Madara-sama would never. Nagato, I never said Madara or Itachi in the victims list. Though like them both, he has no chance of reviving the Uchiha. Them's the consequences of gaining the same immortality of Toba's designation. Anyway, I can give you anti-Sharingan seals for the paths. In exchange I need you to limit Akatsuki's actions to capture the Jinchuriki for another 3 years. Konan looked at Nagato with curiosity, said controller via his path side. Looks like peace will be delayed for longer, agreed. But, I sense you want something else, Taesun smiled. You're a Uzumaki, thus you have a natural disposition towards seals. It's only a backup plan should Konoha go awry, and I have to use my partner's backup plan. But I'd hope to see the Uzumaki restart here in AIM. I'm sure a genetic transfer seal would be workable. He rapidly returned home to avoid paper shuriken from a blushing Konan. Konan, your face is all red. You're not feeling ill, are you? It appears that idiocy towards females is a Uzumaki trait as well. Forest of Death. The Naraka path glared down at Naruto, before charging at him and smashing down with his fists. Naruto jumped out of the way, before doing several rapid handsings. Fire release. Wyvern flame jutsu. A dragon flame was blasted into the path, who forced the flames off him once again and smashed into Naruto, to find him nothing but a shadow clone. Damn you Uzumaki, I will grind you to nothing. That's a little different than your earlier taunts, but ice release, ice manicles. Naruto used ice release to form shackles around his foe's legs, binding him. Let me go. I don't think so. Girls feel like helping me with this lump, they nodded. Lightning release. Surge of lightning. Ice release. Ice spikes. Aura release. Aura sphere. A blue sphere, lightning and ice spikes were sent into the path, who groaned in, well pain. Twitching like a malfunctioning machine, the path stumbled out of the smoke disheveled. I will destroy you, in the name of Lord Uchiha, Uzumaki's scum, he said like a malfunctioning robot. Earth release, rock fist. Rocks coated his fists once again as charged at Naruto. Scorch release. Dehydration chop strike. Naruto smashed into path with a variety with strikes via Naruto's fists, as steam rose from each point. The path screamed in agony. Damn you Uzumaki! He got a tonto to the chest thanks to Samui and fell, dead. Samui gave them a look. So, anyone want to tell me what all those Kekkei Genkai were about? Hokage's office. Damn, I knew that Orochimaru would find a way in here, the snake. But that hulking mass of darkness, the Sandyame was fuming, and probably risking a heart attack, at the security he was getting from security cameras near the Forest of Death, where the figure had smashed a hole into the dangerous training area. He now had to add repair work and possibly feral animal issues to his workload. And I can't even track it. There was a rapid knocking at the door. Hokage-sama. The duo of Izumo and Kotsu burst in. He sighed. Yes. And may I ask what was so urgent you both had to damage my door, and give me more paperwork? They were looking around nervously. We have reason to believe the civilian and elder councils, aside for Chuki and Danzo, and along with that howler bitch, he gave the Hokage time to accuse them of disrespect, he just chuckled. Carry on. Yes, well, we believe they are working against you. Isn't that obvious Izumo-kun, Kotsu-kun? True, but this is something else. Flashback no jutsu. Flashback. The two hyperventilating Chunin and the old Hokage found themselves like transparent ghosts, in the southern gate of the village in the cover of darkness. The southern gate? Why were you here anyway? You were assigned to the east. They smiled and rubbed their hands to the back of their heads. Well, you see, we were getting bored, because nothing interesting ever happens at that gate, so we traded with the guards here. And tossed in a free ramen coupon. The Hokage sighed, before they saw something that made the old man angrier than a okomaiki at a one serving per person eatery. The civilian council along with Homura, the elder Banshee, and Kaharu, were greeting a hulking man dressed in black robes, decorated with red clouds, with strange eyes sort of like Kurenai's. They handed the man a large sum of ryo, and whispered. Take out the demon brat, and his team, end flashback. The Hokage was fuming. How dare they? They were going on treason charges now. Anbu. Several Anbu in the masks of a feral cat, snail, duck, domestic cat, tanuki, tuna, octopus and leech appeared. Bring me the councils, now, drag them if you have to, Asuma-kun, Kakashi-kun excluded, now. The cats, snail and duck nodded, however the others drew their blades. What in? Sorry, but I'm afraid, you're going to have to retire now, demon lover, Kaharu grinned, as she and the rest of the conspirators surrounded the loyal Anbu, Kotsu, Izumo and the Hokage, aided by dozens of civilian-born Chunin and even Tobetsu and Jonin-level ninja. Traitors, Izumo yelled. Homura spat at them. No, but you demon lovers are. In the Forest of Death, Samui and the recovered Team 11 were in a conversation concerning the Kekkei Genkai. Samui nodded as the talks started to cool down. So, it appears this Taesun is up to something, decides restoring his clan via you. As I told you, he's met with Raikage-sama, Killer Bee Sensei and Yugito Obasan, and likely he's met with other Kage and Jinchuriki, or plans to. This guy appears to be from a group called Akatsuki, who he mentioned were after Jinchuriki. And somehow he has 9 Kekkei Genkai, of which several are extinct. How is that possible? Well, I heard rumors of a jutsu that allowed you to absorb Kekkei Genkai, Naruto commented. Samui shook her head. I heard about it too, but even a Jinchuriki couldn't do that, their body would still implode from the process of absorbing 9. Also, Aura Release became extinct 50 years ago, and that guy doesn't appear old enough to have been around to take the power, Naruto sighed. Wait, Taesun mentioned he was dying at one point, or said it to someone else who told me, I can't remember clearly. Maybe he's using seals to prolong his life. Samui nodded. And then made a seal to transfer them to you without harm, it's plausible. Sorry kiddos, but you're wrong, Fluffy commented from the trees, before jumping down. Fu and Haku glared. That girl had larger breasts than even Hinata or Samui. And, you are? Naruto asked. Fluffy giggled. I'm Tai-kun's assistant. And no, I'm not his girlfriend, or something. Damn wife mourner, I need a good lay. Naruto edged away. But that's not why I'm here. First off, Taesun didn't even ask for his powers. I'll let you ponder that one. And two, she grabbed a earth scroll from her pocket and tossed it to Naruto. I think beating a path of AS class shinobi, controlled or not, deserves a little praise. Samui gave her a look. It would be cool if you had a heaven. Nope. Fluffy giggled before body flickering away. The group's sweat dropped. She's a pervert, like a dozen Kakashi senseis rolled in a Ika roll, Naruto said nauseously. Fu reached for her red container bag, and grabbed their extra heaven scroll. Samul looked at them in amazement. And you're just giving us it. Fu smiled, as did Naruto and Haku. Call it thanks for your help with that orange creep, see you guys at the finish. Naruto and group took off. Samui smiled as she watched them fly into the distance. You're cool, Naruto-kun, she didn't quite catch her honorific in time. A Ridge Jutsu Scorch Release, Dehydration Chop Strike. Kekkei Genkei, see description. The foe is struck with heated hands that evaporate water from the body in question. Flashback no Jutsu rank. Description, basic jutsu for recalling memories. Chapter 26. Phantoms in the Breaching Root Forest of Death. Naruto, Fu and Haku leapt from tree to tree, both scrolls now in hand thanks to Fluffy. And with the sun rising on the second day, they'd have 3 days to rest up for the exams. Life was sweat. Then they spotted something red ahead of them. Wait, someone's ahead, Haku commented. Fu passed her a curious look. Wait, is it blood, another team, that green suit guy getting a new wardrobe? Haku shook her head. No, wait, is it Fluffy again? Naruto shivered. Nope, not the obnoxious cougar. As they got closer to the red thing, however, Naruto's eyes widened. Hey, it's Tayuya-chan. The redhead crossed her arms as they approached. It's about time I fucking tracked you guys down, Hokage's office. The loyal ninja in the room entered defensive positions, as the rebelling ninja surged towards them. The loyal ninja drew their various weapons, swords and one giant shellfish mace, but before they had a chance to attack, Kaharu grinned, before yelled out. Genjutsu. Paralysis. The ninja found themselves paralyzed, and began to initiate the genjutsu breaking techniques, but the rebellious Anbu added their own genjutsu paralyses in, trapping them in a multi-layered genjutsu. The only ones to escape it quick enough were Hiruzen and one of the cat-masked Anbu. Give it up. Konoha can't survive with leadership like yours, Homura declared. You're standing in the way of our hero's training. And training the monster instead. Hiruzen glared at him. Naruto-kun's no monster, if anything it's your Uchiha who's the monster. Fire release. Kaharu grinned. Hiruzen, do that and our friends will cut their throats. The bound Anbu and Chunin found themselves with kunai against their throats. Hiruzen's eye went wide. You're too weak to see the truth. Ninja are tools meant to be used for the good of the village. This is why you're an incompetent leader. You'd put Konoha in jeopardy just to save one. The Hokage then started to do something unexpected. Laughing. I'm sorry, that would touch my heart, if I was Hokage-sama. Hiruzen grinned, would release, maple binding branches. Out of every part of Hiruzen's body, branches dotted in red leaves burst forth and restrained the rebelling ninja. Crap, that last Anbu, was that one, Homura groaned. They had to miss the wood release Anbu. Enma-san, now. The Hokage's former teammates paled, as a giant man-like monkey with white hair and brown skin, in kung fu-esque cloths rose up behind them. After all, I may not be able to hurt you, but you never said anything about him, Enma grinned. Finally, I can pulverize the weaklings. The monkey proceeded to smash the old bastards and disloyal ninja into the ground until the Anbu used wood release to withstrain them. Meanwhile, Hiruzen was focusing his chakra. Genjutsu, Field of Release. A wave of chakra crashed across the battlefield, lifting the genjutsu from his loyal ninja. Thanks a mil Hokage-sama. Azumo grinned. His partner smiled. Now to get those bastards. The Hokage chuckled. Sadly, that's already been done. The Hokage smiled at the now restrained rebels. But then, a dark presence entered the room. Forest of Death. So, what's up, Flatchest? Fu asked. Tayuya was annoyed now. Don't fucking call me that bug. The two had electricity going between their heads, literally. Haku and Naruto backed away slowly. Flatchest. Bug. Flatchest. Bug. Girls, can you calm down? They visibly relaxed their feud for now. Now, before broccoli hair bitch here promptly interrupted, I have something urgent to tell you. You know about my curse seal, right? They nodded. Naruto smiled. Good news, by the way. I'm just about to figure out a way to neutralize the seal's controlling effects. Just give me a month or so. Tayuya's eyes were tearing up in joy. You're not pulling my fucking leg, are you? She asked nervously. Naruto shook his head, before Tayuya jumped him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She kissed him again, causing both of his teammates to glare at her in fury, a fury shared by others. Land of the Moon. Isaribi, currently surveying the bustling seaside beaches of the Land of the Moon, suddenly found herself infuriated at virtually nothing. I need to punch something, she commented to herself, before noting a guy with silver hair, reading a Ika book. She twitched. Ah, he'll work, she crackled her knuckles, before with only the speed a orphan used to running could get, grabbed the book and tossed it into a nearby barbecue pit currently in use. Said pervertedness burst into flames. No, my ICHA. My precious, ICHA, I'm dying. Said silver-haired man collapsed to the ground, and began twitching as if having a seizure. Isaribi promptly kicked him in the shoulder. Mitrashi Tower. As Team 8 arrived at the tower, the second team to arrive behind the Suna team, Hinata suddenly found herself infuriated for no reason at all. Hey, Hinata, you sound angry all of a sudden. Are you okay? She nodded. Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, just fine. Don't know why, Akamaru barked, and Kiba nervously flinched. I can't ask her that. The puppy barked again. Okay. Whatever you say, buddy. But you're paying for this if it goes, are we? Nervously, he asked. Hinata, it's not that time. Hinata froze. Shino sighed. Kiba-san, you're an idiot. Hinata started to turn her head around and glared at Kiba. He promptly fled in fear of his life. Hinata sighed. I needed that for some reason, sorry Kiba. Shino sighed, before muttering to himself. Times like this, I'm glad that Aburame females don't have that condition. After all, laying eggs is so much cleaner. Forest of Death. Samui suddenly felt ticked, for an unknown reason. Her teammates were still out conscious from that path attack, so she was standing guard. Meanwhile, a civilian-born team of Konoha viewed them from above. Those idiots are asleep, now's our chance. And let's grab the girl with the big knockers, for our reward. Perverted giggling ensued, which Samui heard. Cool, some victims to let off this strange anger on. In the ensuing scrap, the team found themselves severely maimed, and castrated, and left naked hanging by their ankles. Back to Naruto. Naruto was blushing, before he was grabbed by Fu, and kissed once again, now ticking off Haku and Tayuya. Lay off Flatchest, he's mine. Strange, spices and honey, Naruto thought. Tayuya sighed. Now, before we go and have a fucking orgy, severe blushing, I need to warn you guys. The Tem's been around, and now the Uchiha has a curse mark, hopefully it'll kill him, Naruto prayed. If the curse mark takes Sasuke out, I'll give up ramen. No, did I just say that? Naruto began hyperventilating. Tayuya shook her head. Moron. He's still alive, you should have seen it. He smashed the genin the Tem sent like it was nothing. The big issue is that someone else attacked him. And this person had the Sharingan. The trio stared at him in shock. What? Tayuya looked around nervously. The Tem expects me soon, so I've got to get going. Also, get to the tower, immediately. The Uchiha had a rant about ripping you apart, Naruto-kun, and if he has control of the curse mark, let's just say, he probably could. In the Hokage's office, the loyalists' forces of the Hokage stared down their new foe, a mysterious fellow who was wearing a black cloak, obscuring his appearance, sort of like Taesoon. However, unlike Taesoon, he wasn't solid, his form shimmering like an illusion. "Who the hell are you?" Azumo demanded. The form stared at them, as Sharingan formed in his eyes, before morphing into Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan briefly before returning to their regular form. The eyes, however, didn't resemble Madara's that Hiruzen had fuzzy memories of. "Itachi," the Wood Anbu said in surprise. The form shook his head, before a slightly maniatic tone was loosed. "So. You managed to defeat the idiots, so what? I will destroy Konoha." "Oh yes I will," he heavily laughed. This guy couldn't be healthy mentally. "Identify yourself, Uchiha." "No." The loyalist forces attacked, as did Emna. Hiruzen was alarmed. "No, wait, they attacked the form." Water release. Syrup capture field. A burst of water flew at the floor at his feet, but when it came onto his feet, it failed to do anything. With a flash of his Sharingan, black flames burned away the wood release restraints, freeing the rebels. "Run you fools," he ordered the rebels, who nodded vigorously before retreating. "How dare you!" Emna leapt at the figure, and passed through him. Wood release. The Anbu began, before black flames flared up on the man, burning him, before dissipating. The figure sighed. "Damn, I'm still not fully revived. Infernal slow jutsu. No matter. You will die, Senju puppets." The Uchiha vanished, leaving a stunned group, who glared. "This is all we need. Rebellion and two nutcases trying to destroy Konoha." The Hokage sighed. "Anbu, gather all other active Anbu, and root out the traitors in your ranks. Azumo, Kotsu, gather all ninja not in the exam process and sweep the town. We need to." His eyes went wide. "Hokage-sama?" Kotsu asked nervously. He blinked, before snarling. "Damn, there's a barrier in place." He tossed a shuriken at the doorway, that was reflected off by an unseen force. The Wood Anbu did a quick examination, before reporting in. "Appears to be temporary, should only last an hour. Just enough time for the traitors to flee Konoha," Kotsu commented, viewing outside the window as all the conspirators, and the more unfair civilians, as well as the elder Strawberry Screechcake, were fleeing the village. "Damn, if we send Anbu after them, we're just asking for Orochimaru to move in earlier, and that must be 25% of all our shinobi fleeing with them. This is a disaster," he sighed in defeat. Before he blinked in surprise, before muttering. "So I was right, he didn't disband it. Don't know if I should punish him, or reward him. Guess our shinobi problem is fixed." Down below the fleeing group were just about to breach the north gate, when Danzo hobbled out in their path. He glared at them. "Move out the way, Danzo-san. This village is dead to us, it's contaminated with demon filth." The actually skilled elder shook his head. "I'm afraid, I can't do that. You've let your emotions run wild, and now you've attempted to destroy the order. Your kind is only asking for the destruction of Konoha for your own selfish gains. I'm afraid, I must stop you now." The ninja laughed at him. "Shut it you geezer, you're just one crippled man, how can you handle all of us?" He grinned uncharacteristically. "Because I'm not alone, Root." Surrounding the group were 28 black-clothed Anbu ninja with blank masks, tantos adorning their backs. Kotsu and Homura had agaped mouths. "You, traitor. You were supposed to disband," he stared at them. "You're rebelling, attempting a coup, and when our village is filled with foreign ninja, you're traitors and disgraces of the highest caliber. Because of that, you shall die now," the group laughed. "So what, we outnumber them, they won't last a minute." They in fact didn't last a minute. With no casualties, Root and Danzo single-handedly wiped out the conspirators. Meanwhile in the Root underground, Taesoon was in the secret archives of the Root, looking over the classified documents. The security seals were far too easy to dismantle for a seal master like himself. Danzo had the talent but lacked the originality and finesse for the job. The security seals were meant for Chunin level chakra, not cage level. "You know that they don't have her, right?" Fluffy commented with a sigh. Just because of a few things he had seen in the past, Taesoon apparently had a hunch that Danzo may have Kushina Uzumaki captive, which was proving ungrounded. "Hey, you were there when you saw that." "I had to be sure that wasn't true. Danzo may be the most benevolent of the Elder Council, sad as that is, I can't help but check it out." Danzo still likes in the dark operations, it seemed remotely likely. And we all know how remote thoughts are often true. Is it wise to leave the root nuts running around? Cruelty to humans issues aside, who knows what they've done for the good of Konoha, like the death of the anti-ninja uncle of the Fire Lord, who had posed to take the throne some time ago, Taesun sighed. Danzo has a purpose to stay alive, and besides, behind his flaws is just a man with the utmost loyalty to Konohagakure no Sato. I admire that in any shinobi, no matter how twisted. His eyes widened. Fluffy's hair bristled as her eyes shot wide as well. No, he's here, that only confirms my fears, Taesun shivered. Fluffy gripped her fists. And if he's here, his bitch can't be far behind. If those two unite again, it's not going to be pretty. As in, death, doom, destruction. Yep, the whole package. So, it looks like we found where the screw in our plans came from. A ridge text would release. Maple binding branches Kekkei Genkei B. The basics, from a wood clone's body, hundreds of maple branches fly out to restrain foes. Genjutsu, field of release rank. The basics, the user uses one's chakra to release a large group from genjutsus. Note, due to their bug affinity, the Aburame clan appear to lay eggs. Don't know where that came from, but has anyone seen any female Aburame? No. Chapter 27. The Lost Memories, the Perverted Hyuga. Mitrashi Tower Team 11 entered the tower without a hitch, the third team to arrive so far. Hinata's team and the Suna team of horror were also here. They had 3 days of nothingness to kill. Not that they wanted to give Raccoon Eyes any ideas. So, wonder who's going to make the cut, Naruto commented at a table game of cards with Kiba, Haku, Fu, Hinata and Shino at around noon. Besides us and Suna. That Kumo team, probably, Fu shrugged, we saw them get their second skull, omitting the fluffy, Kekkei Genkei, path of pain thing for now. Hinata gulped. Kumo team, Shino said in his monotone voice. Don't worry Hinata-san, they wouldn't try something in broad daylight, especially now that they've arrived in the tower, they eyed him bizarrely. How do you know that? Shino adjusted his glasses. An Aburame always knows what's occurring at any moment of time in his vicinity, aka, his bugs, not that he wanted to give any advantage to Team 11. Oh, well the team with Neji-san probably, will get here. 2, Kiba scoffed. The team with Mega Brows. You're pulling my leg Hinata-san, she shook her head. No, Neji-san's good, really good, a worthy rival then, Shino mused. I don't know myself. Hate to see Ducky and company here, and Shikimaru-san's team are under a handicap. Doesn't really matter, after all the less competition, the better, Naruto smirked. Hokage's office. So, Danzo-san, while you broke my direct orders and failed to disband your root organization, if it wasn't for you, we'd most likely be facing an unparalleled crisis, easily worse than the Kyuubi. For that, and the coup, I've had to make several changes. The Hokage mused to the gathered group of Danzo, Tsuki and the Shinobi Council. Effective today, the Elder and Civilian Councils are no more. Also, once the Chunin exams are over, we will do a full sweep of all civilians, to ensure we don't have any more hidden agents in the midst. That, Danzo, I will leave to your root agents, however after that, they will be placed into regular Anbu ranks, with me as the final head, but you'll still send them on approved missions. Danzo nodded, this was acceptable. And no new recruits, still somewhat acceptable. However, even with the root ninja now in our ranks, we will still be down dozens of ninja. Skill can't make up for such a drop, and there's that whole invasion warning Naruto-san and his team brought back from the disillusioned Sound Nin in the Land of Waves, Shikaku commented. We'd better hope for a good show from our genin this year, the parents nodded their heads in agreement. Danzo, I need your assessment on our genin currently participating. You have an eye for the traits of ninja, and you're less likely to side with one just because of affection for them, Danzo nodded. It can be done, Hokage-sama. My root, Sai, who is already serving in Sasuke's team, is a well-qualified ninja, easily Chunin or Tobekstu, however I've ordered him to downplay his abilities to hide who he is, now no longer required, as well as existing on Team 7 inches Danzo commented, using Team 7 like a curse. Should he pass to the next round, I will inform him to show his full powers. And that explains where all our decent ninja are going, Hiruzen sighed. As to the others, I have confidence that should they get to the finals, Nara Shikimaru, Shikaku smiled. Aburame Shino, Shibi gazed at him, Hyuga Neji, Hiyashi nodded, and Momoichi Fu and Uzumaki Naruto, Hiruzen smiled, will make Chunin. I have mixed opinions on Tenten. She's the orphan Kunoichi, the only passing one from her year. Sume asked. Danzo nodded. If I recruited female root, I might have made a grab at her. That came out wrong, my bad, I don't usually talk to females. Moving on. Takiboshi Fu, Hiruzen nodded, Yamanaka Ino, Inochi smiled, and Hyuga Hinata, Hiyashi looked surprised at this. My belief is that Inuzuka Kiba, Rock Lee, Akamaiki Choji, Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke lack what it takes to be Chunin. Our young Inuzuka lacks the maturity. Sume sighed, Choji is a little too weak. Shuza shrugged, Danzo's weak was his view of a nice boy. Rock Lee, do you honestly want the flames of youth to expand? The group shivered before shaking their heads. Kami help us if it does, the hospital has an antidote for new victims, right? Inochi asked. Hiruzen nodded. We have them on standby. Haruno Sakura has no skill or true motivation, and while our only Uchiha has the raw power to do it, that will only fuel his arrogance and get him a place on the council, as vacated by the pink-haired menace. Wow, even Danzo hated her. That was definitely something. Wait, Danzo-sama brings up a good point, who does get the vacant seat? Shibi asked. Hiruzen grinned. Oh, I'm working on it. I can't wait to see what happens once they find out Naruto's family, and gain a seat on the council. Speaking of the future, once Naruto passes, I need to retire again, wonder if Jiraiya is willing. Konoha Hospital Taesun was watching over the body of Jiraiya, while Fluffy was currently ripping the Tsunade calendar off the wall, with struggle. Damn, that Anko knows how to place a seal, you're sure? Yes, but she'd be perfect for. No, she's just like Naruto-kun. Fluffy-chan. Alright. Hey, you don't think Tsunade looks like Naruto-kun, do you? Taesun eyed her worryingly. Tsunade is blonde and has a temper, that is not enough to say that they're related. He's no Yamanaka, and they're blonde. There's that Fu guy in Root, he's a redhead, Fluffy countered. Taesun then laughed. Naruto-kun may have a lot going for him, but I doubt that Tsunade is related to him. We checked ourselves, his blood is that of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. No mistake, Fluffy eyed the Tsunade image again. Minato was an orphan, with blonde hair, the eyes, they're blue. Blue eyes are a recessive trait. Tsunade has amber eyes, they supersede blue. If your little quack theory was correct, Minato would have amber eyes, and Naruto would as well. She could be heterozygous to the traits. Fluffy-chan, let's remind ourselves that he lacks any of Dan's traits, and last I checked, he was the only one the old Sannin ever had feelings for. Fluffy grinned, before doing several hand signs. Hey, what are you doing? It's a hunch. Uzumaki sealing art, seal revealing technique. A rapid wave of chakra covered the room, as she, Taesun and oddly Jiraiya glowed. Okay, I get why you and I have the glowing thing, that mockery of a seal that is costing me my life that also gives me the Kekkei Genkai. Wish I could remove it without dying, and you as well. But the pervert as well. Taesun examined the glowing patterns, before his eyes went wide. Fluffy-chan, this seal, it's. Fluffy edged him to continue. He nodded nervously. It appears to be a memory repressor seal, and a rather skilled one at that. Can't remove it without destroying his psyche, so let's see what the thing is. Fluffy grinned. Let's. Uzumaki seal art, memory seal flashback. The scene in question entered their minds, and created a whole set of different looks. Taesun paled, then turned green, then just looked horrified, while Fluffy was panting lustily and blushing. Ah, it burns, hentai, turn it off. Come on, it's so hot, and who knew Toady had such a large. Fluffy, you ruin all my fun. She ended the jutsu, as Taesun collapsed, panting. That was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. Let's never do that again, Fluffy grinned. That just proved my train of thought. The dating of the seal, the hair, the ability, it all makes sense. Taesun shook his head. This is Unexpected, Fluffy chuckled. True, Naruto Uzumaki, grandchild of the Sannin Suand and Jiraiya. But I do wonder, who sealed his memory, and probably Tsunade's as well. Taesun looked at her seriously. I'm afraid I have a theory, and his name starts with an M, and ends with A. He also goes by Toby. Mitrashi Tower. Later that night dream sequence Hinata was in bliss, Naruto-kun's hardness filling her up like her fingers never could. Looking up, she saw her lover's sexy whisker marks, his brilliant blue eyes gazed over by lust, his sweat-soaked hair. His chest rubbed up against her breasts, elating more pleasure coursing across her body. Oh, Naruto-kun, oh, Hinata-chan, my brilliant son, another thrust. Oh, oh, oh. Hinata woke up via a scream in the night. Damn, she was having a really sexy dream. Good thing she packed her bag with some of her secret stash, specifically the cleaner. Been a while since I've had a dream like that, she commented to herself. Taking out her record book, she made note of the current records. Naruto and her normal, 21 Naruto and her Naruto dominant, 4. Naruto and her, she dominant, 3 Naruto and her, Naruto using shadow clones, 5. Naruto, her and Haku, 10 Naruto, her and Fu, 10 Naruto, her, Fu and Haku, 8. Curious about this world's Naruto, she did a few hand signs. Byuakugan. She used her Kekkei Genkei, pushing it several rooms down, passing through Kiba's room, where he was yipping in his sleep, the creepy redhead's room, where he was just staring at the moon, and finally to Naruto's room, where she yepped. Haku and Fu were wrapped around her Naruto-kun, asleep, as was the blonde-haired wonder. Did the little. No, while she wasn't Neji in her skills, she could observe certain details from her current range. First, the girls, and Naruto, were fully clothed, and second the girls' virginities were intact. Hinata smiled sadly, she understood. She may not be an orphan, like she knew hurt all 3 of them were, but she wasn't exactly the most loved. Her mother was dead, her father made Shino seemed emotional, and her cousin wanted her dead. She wasn't used to large amounts of affection, and easily ate it up if given it. But they were orphans, they rarely, if ever, felt that. They'd be drawn closer just for the company. It also was a factor that Naruto-kun wasn't a huge ladies' man, and unlike his former duck teammate, wasn't lustful towards anyone. That made it all the better. She'd be the one to introduce him to love, lust, and would marry him, even if she had to fight his teammates off in a death match. She didn't hate them, but they were in the way of her Naruto-kun. I'm turning into a fangirl, she shivered. Well, at least if she was one, she could actually fight. Her training with Kurenai-sene yielded results. With a yawn, she tried to fall asleep again, and thus entered another perverted dream. Dream Hinata found herself dressed in a revealing corset and thong, in a vibrant purple color. She seemed older as well, about Kurenai's age. Oddly, she had a fox-like tail and strange fox-like ears, but disregarded them. The room she was in had one huge black bed with a canopy and blinds, overlooking a wasteland covered in flames. Also in the room were a similarly dressed and bodily different Fu and Haku, in green and ice blue versions of her clothing. Finally, tied to the bed was a naked, still flat-chested Sakura. Dream Hinata had a evil grin. While Hinata was not exactly into slave fetishes, she really didn't like Sakura. The talentless cunt had somehow attracted her Naruto for far too long, abused him with words and violence, and loved Broodstrom spoiled brat. That, and dreams didn't exactly always follow her standards in behavior. You demon whore, let me go, Sasuke-kun will save me. Sakura yelped, before Hinata growled like a demonic creature, silencing the tough girl. Silence, Uchiha bitch, you've defied our Lord Naruto, she notioned to the 2 other girls behind her, and resisted his empire. For that, you will be punished, she grinned lustily in a way that would impress even Fluffy. So, what to do? Naruto-sama is out conquering Iowa, and won't be back for some time. And we have one of the Uchiha civilian bitches here. The dream disintegrated into torturing the pink-haired and using her like a toy. By the time the 9-tailed fox-eared Naruto returned, he found his 3 lovelies content, and an utterly defeated Pomeranian. Hey my Himes, you're not too spent are you? They purred. Oh, never with you around, Naruto-sama. The dream then turned into a giant orgy. She subconsciously saw her record's new number, and decided this would be a better one, and a new favorite of hers. She also hoped she got up early enough to shower the cum smell off her after this. Naruto and her normal. 21 Naruto and her Naruto dominant. 4. Naruto and her. She dominant. 3 Naruto and her. Naruto using shadow clones. 5. Naruto. Her and Haku. 10 Naruto. Her and Fu. 10 Naruto. Her, Fu and Haku. 8. Naruto. Her, Fu, Haku. Slave Sakura. 1. Dream have no meaning for story. No slave Sakuras are such. And no demonic empires. Just thought I'd clear that up. Namely to A. Help give Hinata pre-exam match screen time, and second to practice my more sensual writing bits to satisfy those who are nagging for them. I place warning about these scenes via dream so you can avoid them. Text from this story originally Uzumaki seal art, seal revealing technique. Rank. A desperate pion. Reveals seals in the immediate area. Uzumaki seal art. Memory seal flashback rank. A description. Allows for the viewing of powerful memories sealed away without causing mental damage. Chapter 28. Preliminaries begin. Mitrashi Tower. A lot of things can happen in a few days in the Mitrashi Tower of Terror, and not all of them will send you to either the for anti-venom or to the nut house. Incident 1. Team 11's room. Naruto, with a yawn, woke up in the morning, to find the warm embrace of both his teammates around him. It was sweet and warm. If he could, he'd stay like this, forever. However, he not only was hungry, but was having one of those, early morning wood-type incidents. He knew about perverted things like that from sex ed in the academy. Oddly, during that time Shikamaru shivered every time the menstrual cycle was brought up, as did Kiba, and Naruto couldn't help but think he had caught Sasuke stare at the male bodily parts more than necessarily, so he knew what that meant. However, he didn't want his team to think he was perverted. Calm thoughts, waterfalls, ramen, waterfalls of ramen. Of course, then Haku had to shift herself in a way that tapped his slowly falling wood, reviving it. Crap, if I get out of this alive and with an intact team, it will be a miracle, he said to himself. Incident 2. Laundry room. Naruto, in his pajamas, however lacking his comical hat, was impatiently waiting for his beloved orange clothing set to finish its round in the laundry machine. A load of finished laundry sat in a basket above the machine, waiting for its owners to gather their extra sets of cloths. Man, why does laundry have to take so long? Downstairs, however, things were getting a little rough. Team 10, rather amazingly becoming the sixth team to arrive, after Team 9, appeared to be in the cafeteria, with the Kumo team. Hey fatty, get out of the way, the dark-skinned female's voice rang out. A loud bellow then was released in fury. I am not fat, just chubby. Some impact with the power of a bulldozer was unleashed downstairs, shaking the tower to its core, and dislodging the laundry basket, sending the laundry spilling over him. Depending on how you view it, either fortunately or unfortunately, the last peoples to have placed their laundry away last night were Samui, Hinata, Fu and Haku, thus covering him in their cloths, specifically their unmentionables. Covering his eyes was a pair of lime green panties, that probably belonged to Fu, he wasn't willing to check, and further obscuring his face was Samui's low-cleavage shirt. A ice blue bra's strap filled his mouth, most likely one of Haku's. Various other cloths covered him like leaves on a forest floor. Oh, Naruto-kun, Hinata's voice said nervously from outside his quite limited range of vision. I'm NTTMMRRRVRT, he said muffled, aka, help, I'm not a pervert. Hinata nodded. I saw what happened, I'll help you, Naruto-kun. This was not only a result of Hinata's general good nature, but also to protect him from the wrath of ticked-off females, though the trio of Haku, Samui and Fu might let him live. Also, on top of his crushing mass of clothing was her favorite purple thong, penned, for Naruto-kun's eyes only. Incident 3. Team 11 room. The morning before the final exams, Naruto woke up with a yawn, never realizing his pillow was this warm or soft. He may have never had such a fine sleep in his life. That was until he caught sound of a soft giggle. Opening his eyes, he saw a giggling Haku in her nightwear. What's so funny? He asked. Giggling, she pointed at something, and that's when Naruto noticed that Fu's arms were wrapped around him, holding him tightly. Then, he realized what his pillows were. Crap, I'm dead. The end of the exams. To his great shock, undead Naruto later and his not murderous teammates found themselves in an arena-like room with a giant hand sign-like statue and viewing areas above it. An oddly tired-looking Hokage, along with all their senseis, aside for Kakashi-sensei and the Iwa team Jonin, a tan-bared man from Konoha. A man whose face was half covered from Suna, a creepy pale man from Oto, a oddly dressed, red and white armored female with black hair from Konoha, a large, muscled man from Kumo, along with a tight-dressing blonde female from Kumo who didn't appear to be a sensei, and to their horror, a man who looked like the green-suited child's father. How else could they both have those disgusting eyebrows and horrid fashion sense? Out of the last 5 teams to arrive, barely in time at the matter, only the team of that Kabuto guy didn't look roughed up for the worse. Both of the male Iwa genin had broken legs, the non-leader Taki genin had broken noses and their arms in slings. One of the Oto genin had a broken arm and Sasuke looked like he'd been through hell. He looked weaker than Sakura in an alternate universe filled with Greek god-bodied Sasukes, not that one exists. The Hokage greeted the group with an interesting spiel about the true purpose of the exams, which was monotonous for the exam's secret viewers. For sitting up in illusion seal hidden hole in the wall, with 2 beach chairs, a cooler of sodas and several bowls of popcorn were Taesun and Fluffy. Great, it's pro-time. Taesun sighed, the events better start soon. I heard that spiel from my own 2 Chunin exams, he muttered to himself. Fluffy laughed. You know you would have been promoted if more people had seen. Yeah, I know, he muttered. Now then, are there any of you here who do not believe they can continue? The Hokage asked, as the Iwa genin with the broken legs rose their hands, as did the broken-nosed Taki genin, and oddly Kabuto. Sorry, I had a nasty encounter with the Oto team during the competition, and my hearing is shot in my right ear, he said with an off-volume voice. Taesun glared at him unseen. As the quitting genin left, another ninja, this one with dark rings around his eyes and a nasty cough, appeared. Pardon me, but, cough, it's time for me to take over. My name is Hayate Gecko, and I'll, cough, be your proctor for this assignment. In the preliminaries that shall, cough, begin now. Preliminaries, are you serious? Sakura demanded. He stared at them. Not to say that, cough, that the exams were easy just now, but 28 genin are too much for the finals, so we need to weed the numbers down. 0.14 is good enough, cough. The scoreboard, Enko yelled as an electronic scoreboard appeared on the side of the wall. Now, cough, if your name appears, cough, on the board, you will fight the other, cough, person also called. The rest of you, cough, will go up into the stands. The billboard began to randomly choose 2 names. Fight till either I say your opponent is done, or if the opponent dies. And the first names were up. Subaku no Gaara versus Haruno Sakura. A loud rushing noise was heard, as if something was running away at a rapid speed. Sakura had vanished, with nothing left behind. Gaara glared her former space, and Sai sighed. Ugly girl's a coward too, Naruto chuckled. You know, that's probably the smartest thing she's ever done. Okay. Cough. Winner Gaara. Gaara seemed to be pouting in a dark way. I want blood. Tamari tried to smile at him. Well Gaara, look at it this way, I bet that all the genin here are going to be cowards and it wouldn't have been much fun anyway. Gaara glared at the door. If I proved my existence with that girl, I would be doing myself proof that I don't exist. Tusni shook his head. Strange, I had money on that Sasuke would fight first, and something's off. Okay. Cough. Next match, Rock Lee vs Akamaiki Choji. Yes, most EXCELLANT. It shall be a most YOUTHAL battle. Lee yelled in glee. Guy gave him a thumbs up. Show them what you got, Lee-kun. Yes, Guy-sensei. Lee was energized now, with fire in his eyes. Choji just groaned. Oh great, I get to fight the nutcase, he groaned. The tan-bearded man sighed. Choji-san, if you win I'll take you out for ribs, all you can eat. A similar fire appeared in Choji's eyes. All you can eat. The gathered group sweat dropped at the weird display going on, quickly dashing to the sane viewing sections. Lee, You can do it. Tenten called. Neji smirked. Lee could handle him. After all, lesser failures beat major failures all the time. Show them what you got, Choji. Ino called. Shikimaru nodded. It will be troublesome if you lose, so don't. Begin. In a dash of wind, Choji charged ahead on oddly Lee-like speeds. Ribs. Expansion jutsu. Choji swelled in size, like an overinflated balloon, human boulder. He morphed into a giant boulder of doom speeding straight at Lee. Gosh. Amazing taijutsu. If I can't learn a jutsu as amazing as that one before I win, I will run through the forest of death 100 times. Lee said in joy, before dodging the boulder attack, that changed directions and pelted Lee into the wall. Boya. Choji landed back to normal on the ground, while Lee leapt into the air from the impact zone. Huh, he's still moving. Amazing. That impact was spectacular. You are a worthy eternal Taijustu rival. Guy gave Lee a thumbs off, while elsewhere Kakashi suddenly lost his feeling of singular dread, and Shuza suddenly felt like Choji was in immense danger. Sure. Expansion jutsu, human boulder. A giant rolling akamaki of death flew straight at Lee once again, who caught the trick and jumped into the air, before running on top of the speeding akamaki. Hey, didn't Lee have to run on a rolling mountain boulder at one point? Tenten asked Neji curiously. Neji pondered it. It does ring a bell. While one of his nutso promises actually is helping him, Guy grinned. Yep, that's my Lee-kun, now show him, the power of youth. Lee grinned. Gladly Guy-sensei. Lee jumped off the rolling akamaki and aimed behind him. Leaf Hurricane. A aerial roundhouse kick slammed into Choji, causing him to impact into the walls of the battlefield like a pinball, before he flew back at Lee, who jumped again into the air to avoid the attack, before spinning midair. Fires of Youth Impact. I don't do taijutsu as original jutsu. Lee slammed down into Choji with his feet extended, while the horrid genjutsu appeared, with waves rising from Choji's impacted form and a sunset behind Lee. Behold the power of youth. Guy rose his fist into the air. Lee, that is great youth power. The Kumo Jonin with the muscle stared at him in shock. That power. It's not human. And that's saying something, seeing as I'm in you, a voice said to the Jonin from inside. The other Kumo Jonin then made a noise reminiscent of a startled cat. Crap, not another song of thunder. The genjutsu faded away, showing the defeated Choji. Winner, Rock Lee, why, youth, Choji grumbled. His sensei yelped in fear. He's infected. Medic, get the antidote. Lee jumped back onto the rafters and smiled at his sensei. I did it, Guy-sensei. I knew you could, Lee-kun, Guy-sensei. Lee-kun, Guy-sensei, Lee-kun. The genjutsu returned. Can I please destroy it? No, brokage would kill if I caused an incident. Kill them. Nibby. That's something B would do. I will not stoop to his level. The group was paralyzed in fright until the genjutsu stopped. How is it they do that? The Hokage whispered to Anko. She shivered. I don't know, but I'd rather be stuck with Orochimaru Tem again than deal with that. Taesun smiled from his hidden viewing post. That was quite youthful, Fluffy gasped. Infected. He chuckled. Nope, I'm immune to it, though something is still bugging me. Okay, time for the next match, Yamenka Ino vs Subaku no Tamari. The two blondes were up next, with a grinning Tamari. So, you're my opponent, eh? Well, I was hoping for a challenge, but a win's a win. I just hope Konkuro actually gets a fight in, Ino glared at her. Watch it, ugly sweater baka. Temari's eyes got fire in them, but unlike Lee's, these wanted to destroy. Oh boy, she had to insult her fashion sense, Konkuro sighed. Gaara gave a evil grin. Tamari appears to be ready to prove her existence. Begin. Tamari rapidly drew the metallic thing from her back, before unfolding a giant fan. Wind scythe jutsu. A harsh gust of wind flew from the scythe straight towards Ino. With a gulp, Ino rolls out of the way of the wind attack before drawing a pair of shuriken and sent them flying at Tamari. Using her fan, now folded up again, she blocked them before sending another huge gust of wind flying at Ino. This repeated for several minutes, Ino managing to avoid the furious Konoichi's wind attacks, while Tamari blocked the recovering fangirl shuriken and kunai with her fan. However, then Tamari managed to get a closer strike, and cut off Ino's hair, sending it flying into the air. Ino looked furious for a brief second, before changing to an evil grin. "What are smiling about, you anorexic?" Tamari began before she found her arms and legs bound by 2 blue ropes of chakra, coming from Ino. "Chakra hair rope technique, success," she smirked, mimicking her teammate's shadow Posesian talk. Shikamaru smiled. So, she figured out how to use her opponent's attack against her. Not bad Ino, not bad at all. Tenten was also interested in this. Finally, another strong kunoichi. It was getting depressing, Neji scoffed. And probably the only one from her year. Hinata heard this, and flinched. Kiba growled. "Shut it Neji-tem. Sorry, Mut-chan, I don't plan on it." Lee tried to play peacekeeper. "Don't fight, it would be most unusual." Ino grinned. "Now, to end this, mind-body switch technique." Tamari suddenly went rigid, as Ino's body collapsed. Tamari then smirked, her body now controlled by Ino, before slowly raising her hand. "Tamari, loose to the mind-controlling bimbo, and I will kill you," Gaara said in a monotone voice. Now, while not exactly the motivational speech of the year, had some impact. Gaara was actually caring about her, in his own, warped, psychotic murderous fashion. With a scrunched face, Tamari began rapidly twitching, before letting out a yell. Ino's collapsed body twitched back to life, as Tamari regained control. How did I? Ino gasped in shock. Tamari was furious now. "So, you like possessing people? Well then, possess this." Tamari, using her rolled-up fan like a giant baseball bat, smashed Ino into the wall, where she collapsed, defeated. "Ino," Shikamaru gasped. "Oh great, now I'm the last from my team here. How troublesome." Winner, Subaku no Tamari. Ino was taken to the hospital, while Tamari ran back up and did the most dangerous thing yet attempted in the Chunin exams. "Thank you Gaara." Gaara's eyes went wide. "My sand shield isn't working." Taesun smiled at Temari's affection for her Jinchuriki brother, before shaking his head. "I can't still help but think something's off." "Oh quit it, relax and have a soda." After the next fight, where Shino used bugs to blow up the injured Sound Genin's arms, same as Canon, not typing it. The next match appeared. Hyuga Hinata vs Nakyusagi Karui Chapter 29, Aurora Bright Preliminary Matches. Mitrashi Tower hallways. Have to get away, Sakura thought in a panic as she fled from the preliminaries. Chunin rank be damned, she wouldn't fight that monster. Whatever he wasn't human, and she'd be ripped to shreds. It didn't matter anyway, her mother had told her that by the end of the exams, they'd be in control of Konoha. She'd be promoted, along with her Sasuke-kun, while the Baka and his bitches were stripped of their ranks. The Baka would be executed like the criminal he was, and his whores would be Sasuke-kun's slaves. The civilians and civilian-born would rule. As she continued to flee from the death matches, she found herself in the path of a dark-cloaked figure. The figure appeared to be hazy, without a solid body apparent, and to her annoyance, a large chest was apparent. "Hey, get out of the way," the figure stared at her, as Sakura froze in fear. The figure rose its hand as it slowly approached her wide, terrified eyes. "No, get away, get back, ah." Silence as Sakura collapsed to the floor, still. Only shallow breathing revealed the fact she was still alive. Back to the fighting. Mitrashi Tower Fluffy sniffed the air, and growled in fury. Taesun gave her a look. "So, she's here too then." Fluffy shattered the empty sake bottle in her hand with tsunade-like force. "That bitch. She and her bastard Uchiha are back, and from the dead. Honestly, can't they just stay dead? Tell that to Toby," Taesun sighed. Down below, Hinata and the dark-skinned Kumo female were about to square off. "So, you're the little Hyuga from all that time ago, Hiyashi's brat." "Ha, you're a Hyuga, you look like a terrified little brat," Hinata flinched. Neji glared down at her. "Humph, the little weakling probably got the worst matchup she could have gotten." Neji smirked. "This is going to be enjoyable to watch." Tenten and Lee glared at him. "That is so unyouthful. You should support your family," At least you have one. Lee yelled. Neji gave a chuckle. Hey, I envy you too. No deadweights in power, no evil traditions. I'd trade my life with yours any day. Fu and Haku didn't seem hopeful for her either, but Naruto was trying to be. She's Samui-chan's teammate, right? Since she got knocked out, she's bound to be weaker than her, he reasoned. Haku shook her head. Even if that's true, she had a sword, allowing for her to keep Hinata-san easily out of range, and I'd be willing to bet she has some sort of long-range attack. Haku shook her head. It's a problem with clan-style fighting. They all fight the same way, allowing for easy counter-strategies. For example, the Akamaiki fight with taijutsu exclusively, and the Yamanaka fight mainly with their minds, and you saw how that ended. In a way like that, it's almost better to born outside of one of the exclusive jutsu clans. Lets you diversify, the Sarutobi, Hitaki, and even dare I say the duck heads, Fu shrugged. Naruto smiled down at the fight. Hey, don't sweat it, it's always the quiet ones who pull the win out of nowhere. Shino-san did. Fu and Haku gave him a look. Naruto-kun, that saying goes to thieves, killers and perverts. Naruto's eyes went wide. Oh, my bad. It's not like Hinata-san's any of those. They missed Hinata sneeze. Begin. With a cough, the two girls began their fight, Hinata starting off by activating her Byukugen. Hinata flew at Karui and attempted a gentle fist strike, which Karui easily avoided, before elbowing Hinata in the back. Hinata stumbled backwards, disheveled from the attack, before Karui gave Hinata a roundhouse kick, smashing her into the wall, sending up a cloud of smoke. At least, she thought she did. As the smoke cleared, only some rubble from the two earlier fights were in her place. Substitution. Neji huffed. Little coward. Tenten gave him a look. Hey, lay off her. Last I checked that was a jutsu your laws let you use, Neji huffed. And when do we ever use such weak techniques outside the academy, he countered. He never did, and now Karui was wildly looking around for her. Damn, where did the little brat go? She growled, before she heard several running-like sounds, and turned around to see Hinata charging at her. Drawing her long sword from her back, she swung it at Hinata like a cleaver knife, and it passed right through her. A clone, Karui said surprised, before she felt a sharp strike to her arm. The real Hinata had landed a hit, and she dropped her sword from her impacted hand. Rapidly, Hinata struck her in two other points of her arm before jumping out of further range of her other arm. See Neji, that was youthful thinking. Lee smiled, using a clone jutsu as a distraction, then getting a strike via her gentle fist. It is an idea you should try. Neji shook his head. She's weak, so she needs little civilian tricks like that, Neji scoffed. Karui was angry now. My arm, you will pay for that. She focused, as the Song of Thunder genjutsu formed around her, rumbling thunder clouds sending off ode to joy like music. Hinata stared at her in fright. Guy growled. So Lee-kun, that's the rival power you warned me off. The Song of Thunder, Lee nodded vigorously, as Neji paled. She can summon that kind of genjutsu at will. You know, I may dislike that weakling, but that's a little over the top. Meanwhile her sensei was grinning. Yes, she's using my new technique with static. Prepare to be made aesthetic. You can't be serious, you perfected that unholy jutsu. Samui shivered as she saw what was about to occur. I really don't want to know. Lightning release, thunder notes. The genjutsu started to shimmer, as the notes started to form out of it, coated in electricity. The notes formed around Karui, before she used her one good hand to point at Hinata, as the musical notes flew at Hinata. Hinata, with her Byukuin activated, shivered at the oncoming notes, before using her gentle fist to strike them, but the notes just passed through her attack, and then electrocuted her. Electricity covered Hinata, who screamed. Hinata-san. Kiba, Fu, Haku and Naruto gasped out at once. Kurenai and Shino gave her a concerned look. Hinata stumbled out of the attack's range, her hair smoking slightly. Give it up, weakling. You can't win. You weren't even worth that incident. In fact I bet that your father wishes we'd have taken you off of his burden, Hinata shivered. Naruto had enoga of it. Hinata-san. Don't listen to her taunts, she's just trying to hurt you. Don't let her bully you like that. Fu and Haku smiled sadly. Naruto had incidents like that a lot in his youth, so anything similar to that he caught sight of angered him easily. Neji scoffed. The idiot doesn't get it. Hinata-sama is doomed to be a failure. Nothing he can say will change that. Hinata, however, looked up at Naruto with a smile. Naruto-kun, she whispered to herself, before she looked up to her sensei, who then gave her a curt nod. Hinata nodded, as she forced herself up, deactivating her Bukagen. Still trying, you weakling. Don't bother. Lightning release, thunder notes. Dozens of electric notes flew straight at Hinata, as a multicolored glow of chakra surrounded her. Kurenai smiled. What the? Kiba said, shocked. That hasn't been seen in hundreds of years. The Hokage sputtered. I thought it was just talk. Taesun was in shock, and Fluffy appeared to be absent. Been years since I saw one of those. Who knew Sunny Girl there had it? Fluffy said absently. Hey, isn't that something out of the new Princess Fun movie? Naruto said, confused. Neji looked terrified. No, it can't be, she can't. Hinata did the Hanseal's bird, horse, bird and tiger. Aurora release. Boreal Lightshow. A dozen streams of red, green and blue streams of chakra flew from Hinata's glowing arms, striking into the notes, and obliterating them, before smashing into Karui, who was sent screaming and crashed into the wall, where she lay knocked out. Hayate gave it a minute. Winner, Hyuga Hinata, Hinata panted, as the glow dissipated from her body. Lee was confused. Neji, what was that strange light she had around her? An aurora release, I never heard of something like that. Neji seemed to be stuttering much like his cousin did, but in shock more than nervousness. The aurora release trait is immensely rare amongst the Hyuga, like 1 in 1,000. Wait, auroras are those lights in the north, right? Tenten asked. Neji nodded. She chuckled. So what is it then? The one light amongst the Arctic clan or something? Neji shook his head. You could say that. The trait, while weakening the Bukugen of the possessor, grants them range. So, what elements does it combine then? Guy asked. Kekkei Genkei combine 2 or more elements. It's not. Neji said abruptly. It's a Kekkei Tota, 3 elements together, wind, water and lightning. Ironic, isn't it? Gaara was staring at the tired Hinata. She'd be a good way to prove my existence, Gaara commented. Konkuro was shocked at the performance. And I, though the Hyuga were just nasty on puppet masters. Now that. This is going to make the plan more difficult. The next match was up now, Kinuta Dosu vs Kuretsuchi. Good. They omitted my name like I asked. Kuretsuchi commented from her lone spot. But still, that guy's going to be tough. Both the genin jumped down to battlefield, where she looked up to where Team 11 was. Dosu looked like a mummy, and also had on him a straw cape, and a metal arm. Still, wished I could have fought Blondie there. But no matter, Taesun sighed in relief at this. You know, I'm glad she didn't fight Naruto-kun, she would have totaled him because he looks like his dad. Though sound mummy, there is one of the tougher genin here, this should be a good fight. Begin. Dosu stood still, which only infuriated Kuretsuchi, who began to rapidly do hand signs. Move it, you lug, or I'll make you. Fire release, dragon flame jutsu. A dragon made of flames flew from her mouth towards Dosu, who easily avoided the attack with unexpected mobility. What the? She said in shock as he appeared behind her. Vibrating sound drill. He slammed his arm into Kuretsuchi, as sound waves began pouring off of the attack, disorienting her and causing her hearing to get shot. So, you're a long-range fighter. Interesting, but it doesn't matter, you lose today. My sound has damaged your hearing and messed with your bodily functions. This will be the knockout blow. She then began to dissolve into mud as he finished. He stared in surprise. A mud clone and a substitution. She appeared behind him with an evil glint. Not bad, and here I thought my clone would have you. I wasn't Iowa Rookie of the Year for nothing, mummy. Fire release, dragon flame jutsu. Vibrating sound drill. The two attacks collided, canceling her attack. He stepped back, and shook his head. That fire attack, my sound was off at the end of it. You used the fire to heat my metal arm. Impressive, you're smarter than the Uchiha, though that takes little. I give you this win. Kuretsuchi blinked, as did everyone else. Huh. He sighed. The holes on my arm are specified for the use of my sound jutsu. If they are messed up by heat and expand, my skill repertoire is highly weakened. Better to give up while I can still repair the damage. So I can fight who I really want to destroy. He looked up to the Uchiha, before leaving the battle room. Hayate looked confused. Okay. Winner Kuratsujihi, Taesun smiled. That Oto Genin is a funny one, and has too much potential to lose. Fluffy, Kiri or Kumo? She gave a thought for a moment. Kumo. Taesun nodded. Agreed. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. An independent set of clones of both of them appeared next to them. Can't risk the sound differences from other clones. Okay. Both of you, bring the mummy to Kumo. They'd kill for his information on Orochimaru, and we can't risk it getting into Akatsuki hands. You know what to do. They vanished as the next fight began, where Shikamaru took home his team's only win against the last Oto Genin, thus the entire team was knocked out. Then came the next match. Tsurugi Masumi vs Momoichi Haku. Momoichi, as in the Seven Swordsman Zabuza, has she seen it? Tenten said, drooling like a Sasuke fangirl in his shower. Let's not think that one through. One of the creepy covered mouth, glass-wearing teammates of Kabuo was now against Haku. What a pretty body, so sorry I'm going to have to break it, he chuckled as his arm started to roll and stretch unnaturally towards her. That is disgusting, Fu said, grossed out as the arm extended towards Haku rapidly. Wind release. Great breakthrough. A great blast of wind was unleashed from Haku's mouth, flying towards him, when his entire body unnaturally loosened to avoid the attack, grossing out most of the genin, aside for Sasuke, Neji, his teammate and Gaara. You can't hit me, my body can alter itself at will. His body began to wrap around Haku's, restraining her arms into her and the rest of the Kunoichi present furies, her breasts. Oh, they are so soft, you'll be fun to play with, he chuckled heavily. Naruto was ticked. Hey, let Haku-chan go, you pervert, he chuckled. Why should I? This will be fun. She tried to move her hands, and found only one could be moved. She sighed, before using one of her fingernails to let some blood out. Do you give up now, or do I have to break your pretty little body? He chuckled. She grinned as she did several one-handed seals unseen by him. I have 2 words for you, summoning jutsu. From her still free hand, the dark-furred rabbit called Shirobito appeared in a poof of smoke and hopped out of the attack. Hinata smiled. So cute. Kiba grinned, hungrily, as did Fluffy. Both had similar thoughts. Dinner. Tenten laughed. A rabbit, what could a silly little rabbit? Shirobito. Maul him. The rabbit gave an insane laugh, as a graphic maulin began. The group shivered, some even looking away. That rabbit, it's evil, Sasuke commented. That rabbit is very unyouthful. You should never bite someone there, Lee said nervously. That rabbit is very nasty, and it dejules men very fasty. Kill that thing, before it kills us. Winner Momoichi Haku, please get rid of that rabbit, cough. Haku desummoned the nasty rabbit. The next match was called, and Fu flinched, as the Taki boy grinned. Takiboshi Fu vs Bagugarai Joe, Saskeeter, ready to get squashed. The original techniques debuted today. Lightning release, Thunder Notes. Ranka Description. Once the Song of Thunder is activated, notes shaped out of electricity are lobied at the foe. This technique doesn't require hand signs and can't be blocked by physical means. Aurora release. Boreal Light Show Keke Toida A. Decryption. Large bands of lights are sent at the foe, similar to Storm release, Laser Circus. Chapter 30. Preliminaries. Blades Galore. Mitrashi Tower, Exam Chambers. The 9th match of the 14-match tournament was about to begin, with Joe and Fu staring one another down, the 2 Taki-born ninjas giving off wads of killer intent. So, it's between you and me, Skeeter. Ha, bet you can't even fight without being, you know what, he knew the laws here, but he could still mess with her mind. She tightened her fist. Because of her tailed beast, Fu had immense taijutsu power, thus her ace in the hole for the exams. But, Haku won without revealing her ice ace. Perhaps she wouldn't be the only one. Okay then, if you think I'm so dependent on that power, perhaps all it will take is for you to be pounded by moi without it, Fu glared at him. Naruto and Haku felt nervous at this. I hope she knows what she's doing. Her taijutsu would win in a nanosecond, Haku commented. Begin. The two Taki-borns jumped into battle. Earth release. Rising stone spears. Spears of earth rose from the ground towards Joe. He grinned as they pierced him, like he was nothing. A clone, Fu said in shock as he appeared behind her with an evil grin. Secret Takigakure water release, water sword. A sword of water formed in his hands from the moisture in the air before being used to slice down at Fu. Secret Takigakure water release, water sword. Two water swords collided at once. How dare you use our jutsu? Joe growled at her. Fu glared at him. Hey, no one said I couldn't, did they? Water release. Water tornado. Water release. Water tornado. The two water tornado jutsu collided with a massive explosion, sending Fu and Joe into the air above the smoke. Such power colliding at once, they are both skilled genin, shame one has to lose. Omnoi shook his head. Secret Takigakure water release, water spear. A spear of water formed in Joe's hand before he used it to strike into Fu. Fu's eyes widened as the weapon stuck into her arm. Fu-chan. Naruto gasped out in fear as she was sent to the ground in a plume of smoke. Joe landed on the ground, and grinned. Game over. As the smoke cleared, Fu remained, holding her injury with one arm. I'm not done yet, she groaned, before charging at him. He grinned. So, you're a glutton for punishment, eh? Water release. Water tornado. A tornado of water flew straight at Fu, and smashed into her, sending her into the wall, where a plume of smoke went up. A shadow clone. At genin level, Yugito gasped. Yes, go Fu-chan. Naruto yelled as Haku nodded. From behind him, a still injured Fu rose up, with a kunai in her mouth. Spitting it out, the kunai flew at Joe with bad aim. Ha! You little dumb skeet. Fu glared. Shadow kunai jutsu. The one kunai turned into hundreds of kunai, raining destruction down on the battlefield, striking Joe as he was sent off the ground, pinned down by the kunai with several sticking out of his legs and arms. Hayate gave a brief look around. Winner. Takiboshi Fu, Fu grinned. Not bad there Fu-chan, not bad at all, Taesun commented. I did it, I did it. Damn you despicable hornet. Joe grumbled as the medics took him away. The 10th battle appeared on the screen as the two competitors made it down to the arena. Hyuga Neji vs Inuzuka Kiba. So pretty boy, ready for the beatdown of a century, Kiba grinned. The Hyuga Genuese shrugged. Sure, just hope you like vet food. Begin. The white dog Akamura jumped out his master's jacket as the Inuzuka prepared for battle. Beast mimicry. Blue chakra became visible on Kiba as he began to look more feral. Neji kept a blank face. How's this pretty boy? He charged at the Genuese Hyuga, who without even activating his Byukugen, sidestepped the Inuzuka, who slid a few feet after the attack. Is that how it is then? Passing Fang. The singular form of Kiba flew at him with a razor-like spin. Neji again easily avoided the attack like it was nothing. So, you going to make this entertaining or something? Neji asked the feral boy. Kiba growled. I'm getting really sick of that attitude of yours. Akamaru now. He tossed a soldier pill at the little dog, who ate the pill and began to sort of mutate. The puppy appeared more feral now, and had red fur. Roar. That's it buddy. Beast human clone. Akamaru jumped onto Kiba's back before turning into another Kiba. Oh great, more of him, Naruto sighed. This boy's just unleashed his beast, but why is it I see the Hyuga at the victory feast? B. You're aggravating, Yugito sighed. So, you think you're so tough then pretty boy, then take this. Kiba tossed a smoke bomb at the Hyuga, filling the air with gas. Interesting, he knows that your Byukugen can't see through that gas, and appears to be betting Neji's can't either, Shino surmised. However, Tenten had a grin on her face now. So, looks like you can hide one of your aces then, she said to herself as the two with the Kiba look on them charge at the cloud from alternate sides. Fang passing Fang. Both of them flew into the smoke cloud for the attack, before a large explosion occurred. Hinata's went wide. Kiba, said boy and his now normal appearing dog were blasted out of the smoke, and landed utterly knocked out. As the smoke cleared Neji found himself standing in a shallow crater, looking bored. However, he was happy at least that the mud smoke hid his secret defense. Smart boy, he could probably get tried for knowing that as a branchie, Fluffy commented. Taesoon just shook his head. You know, isn't the branch house supposed to protect the main house, then why are they weaker? But, how? Kurenai gasped in shock. Lee nodded sadly. That Neji, they don't call him a Genuese for nothing. He beat that guy without suffering one hit. Samui rose an eyebrow. That's one cool Hyuga. Winner, Hyuga Neji. As both Kiba and Akamaru were hauled away, Neji strolled calmly back to his seat, as the 11th match was called. Ni Samui vs Sai. Both pale genin stared one another down. So, let's make this an enjoyable match for testing our valor in battle, large-chested Kumo Nin, Sai said in his weird tone. Samui just stared back, probably the first female he ever talked to who didn't pummel him. That was just due to how patient she had to be on Team Killer Bee. Begin. Sai drew from his backpack, oddly a paintbrush and scroll. Taking his brush, he rapidly began drawing. Ninja art. Super Beast scroll. Hundreds of inked cat-like creature rose from the scroll and charged at Samui, who rose an eyebrow. Not bad. Lightning release. Lightning dome. A dome of electricity formed around Samui, blocking the paint beasts and causing them to disintegrate. Sai kept drawing, and sending more beasts at her as her jutsu faded. Dodging a few of the beasts, she drew the Tonto from her back. Lightning release. Lightning sword. Electricity coursed across her Tonto as she sliced down the paint beasts before charging at Sai. Sai smiled as he drew his own Tonto. How excellent. Ninja art. Paint Excalibur. Paint coursed across his blade, hardening it as he charged at Samui as well. Both blades collided, as both Kinjutsu users clashed again and again. Wow, look at them go, Tenten said drooling. Guy-sensei, I need to learn how to do that with my swords. Guy gave his good guy pose. What youthful thinking, I shall teach you it successfully or I will juggle Chusa Akamaiki for an hour with one hand. Neji and Tenten edged away from their crazy sensei. Ninja art. Paint blade. Sai formed a second blade via his paint and increased his pressure on Samui's skills, who held him off barely. Damn, this guy is tough. She closed her eyes, before opening them slowly and jumping out of range. Lightning release. Surge of lightning. A blast of lightning flew at Sai, who used his blades to block the attack, but that was all the distraction Samui needed, as she tied an exploding tag onto one of the 3 kunai she drew out. Tossing the blades, they impacted into the ground as Sai avoided them, but the last one he avoided had the tag, which then exploded. An explosion rocked the premises. After all, she only used a small one. Okay, if she destroys my tower she's disqualified, Anko pouted. Sai jumped out of the attack, with only his regular Tonto. Samui then forced her chakra around her like a shroud, before it became electrified. Yugito stared in shock at Killer Bee. You didn't. Bee smiled. Teach her Brokage's basics at Nintaijutsu. The shroud began to electrically form a slight cat-like theme to it, with cat-like ears and claws, but no tail. Lariat. Samui flew at Samui, using the ears like horns, and smashed Sai into the wall. Samui slid on the floor, as Yugito smiled in a flattered way. Now that's a nice kid of a niece you have, Yugito-chan. Winner. Ni Samui, weakling, Sasuke scoffed. Man, I hope I go soon, because if I have to watch another match, I'd get all tense, and then I'd be more likely to pull a muscle, which will cause my opponent laugh at me, which could cause them to get a hemorrhage. Don't worry bro, look you're next, B commented at the board. It showed the 12th match. Tenten vs Shinpai Omoi. Wait, can I even fight a girl? Because what happens if this gets out, and I never get a date again, and then the girls burn my house down? Don't sweat it bro, I'm sure you'll do fine. B smiled, as the 2 contestants appeared on the battleground. So, you're the guy the first get to fight, should be fun, man, I hate fighting girls, Omoi shook his head, as he reached for his sword. Begin. Tenten grabbed a scroll, and unsealed a blade much like Omoi's and Karui's, as the 2 Kinjutsu users charged. The endless clang of metal smashed into other metals crossed the battlefield as both genin clashed again and again. You're pretty good, for a Konoha-nin. But do you know this hidden trick? Using his sword, he struck the blade at a singular part, as the blade was knocked out of a startled Tenten's hand. What the? Hidden Kumo de-arming style. Now give up. She drew more scrolls. I don't think so. The battle degraded into Omoi dodging kunai, shuriken and various other sharp metal things. Tenten then unsealed the giant hammer she once used on Neji, and slammed it down towards Omoi, whose own blade was smashed by the destructive force. Erg. I hate that hammer, Neji groaned. Omoi slowly removed the sucker from his mouth. Not bad. Now for my ace as to why my weapon speciality is better than yours. Yours is impressive, I'll admit, but you lack one trick, something like the seals on this infinite lollipop of mine. Infinite? Yugito asked. Killer Bee grinned. It's what we alls picked up during our bee mission to the land of candy. His reward for saving the Daimo's cousin from a giant boulder. These seals are only activated when I remove it, and it touches Ari. Observe, the air shimmered, as all the fallen weapons from their battle started to magnetically move towards Omoi, surrounding him like a cloud. What the? Tenten gasped. Taesun nodded, impressed. A magnetic seal. And a rather decent one at that. I heard rumors that Kumo once got hands on a Uzumaki scroll, but to make it with such skill. Omoi drew his blade back, as well as Tenten's, and returned his lolly to his mouth, as he started to rapidly chuck metal things at Tenten, her own weapons. Damn, I was hoping to not have to do this, but, twin rising dragons. She drew two of her emergency scrolls and opened them in a spiraling ring of paper. She's that desperate, Lee said in shock. Using the scrolls, she began to rapidly draw out weapons, and chuck them into the metal maelstrom. It was sheer chaos as hundreds of metal weapons collided into one another again and again. As the storm cleared, Omoi was the only visible combatant. He sighed in relief. Winner. Out of nowhere, Omoi was smashed by the foot of the still active Kunoichi. Dynamic entry. Omoi was smashed into the wall by her kick. Now he was out. Fluffy chuckled. So, it was a combination of a substitution and dynamic entry that won it. You should use that next time you're in a fight. Or you could, okay. Winner Tenten, Lee and Guy were ecstatic. What a youthful way to win. Give us a hug. Ten. The duo jumped down to hug the terrified girl. Lee, Guy. The genjutsu reappeared, with Tenten stuck in the middle of it. Help. Me. She whimpered in fear. Killer Bee was sulking. The Song of Thunder lost, to the flames of youth. I can't even rap right now. Thanked Cammy. No one asked you. There was an intermission for Tenten to gather her scattered weapons. You know, Omoi had a point. I need one of those seals. The 13th match then lived up to its name, as it was quite unfortunate. Sasuke fought Yoroi, one of Kabuto's teammates, and in 5 seconds, killed the guy with a Chidori. The Hokage was not amused. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke. Was that really necessary? Hey, you said either you call it, or he has to die. That wasn't meant to be literally taken. Send some of the Uchiha fun to his family, he instructed an Anbu with an order to the bank. What was even worse, however, was Sasuke had his Sharingan active, for the entire duration of the tournament, and had gotten all the jutsu, aside for the ones used by Fu, Haku, Neji and Karui. This left only the last fight. Uzumaki Naruto vs Subaku no Konkuro. The new text never seen before in canon and likely fanon, can be rented if asked. Secret Takigakur Water Release. Water Spear Rank. B description. Via Water Chakra, a spear is formed for battle. Lightning Release. Lightning Sword Rank. See description. Chakra flow is used to course chakra of lightning across a blade. Ninja Art. Paint Excalibur Rank. B description. Paint is used to magnify a blade to a greater state. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.